Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Look at me going live. Look at me going live again and again and again and again. I'm going to give y'all this live. Shout outs to everyone checking in, tapping in on a manic Monday. So many of you have quite a quite a few things to check off on your list today, including myself. I am here at Cosset Library inside the podcast studio. I guess I'm going to wait for a couple of you to show up before I divulge some of this good info. And look at me. I got me something to eat today. I stopped by Chipotle. Who are my Chipotle lovers? I usually get a bowl, but today I got a burrito, a chicken burrito. But I love a good bowl too with some nacho chips and some guacamole. But yeah, so what is today's date? Today is Monday the 13th. I want to inform everyone that tomorrow, the 14th, here at the historic Cosset Library, we are doing a live, verbally effective podcast with none other than the president and CEO of the National Civil Rights Museum, Dr. Russell Wigginton. So I hope you guys can join us at 11:30 a.m. right here at Cosset Library. We're going to have a conversation, of course, about Dr. Wigginton's journey. Not sure if a lot of you know this, but he attended Rhodes College here in Memphis, Tennessee, taught history at Rhodes. He received his PhD. He also has a background, I believe, in sales as well. He is an intellect, so very qualified to lead an institution such as the National Civil Rights Museum, well versed on our history, especially as it relates to civil rights and Memphis. So I am looking forward to the conversation tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. right here in Cosset Library. Hope you guys can join us. You also can have lunch with Chef Eli at Dos Hermanos Cafe. We'll be set up right next to the cafe. So we are looking forward to you all joining us. Maybe a couple of weeks ago, I posted on socials that it was a question posed to everyone asking, hey, are you interested in hosting a podcast? My idea for the residency going into its third year is to elevate the programming here. And I would love to launch Cosset Community Podcast. So, what does that look like? What does that mean? So, when you think about the top genres in podcasting, of course, you got your comedy, society, and culture. You have politics, which is hot button right now. You also have wellness. Comedy seems to be at top tier for podcasting these days. I don't know. Everybody, got to laugh to keep from crying. Not sure, but it's always leading in according to the analytics, right? Well, we are going to launch quite a few podcasts. My guess is maybe 10 to 15, but that's based on you all out here in mid-south area, Memphis, Tennessee, right? So here are some of the concepts that I am looking to produce podcasts in. And before I get into the concepts, I do have a company, Avi Multimedia. And what I am looking to do is grow that multimedia company, right? So I come across so many talented people here in the city of Memphis that want to elevate their voices. They want to tell their stories. And they've either started podcasts here, attended some of the workshops through the Innovator in Residency with the programming here. And at this point, I am ready to tap in to Memphis to gather some hosts for quite a few podcasts under the Ivy Multimedia brand. And the concepts that we are looking into are community stories. I know some of you got some really good Memphis Mid South, West Memphis, Tunica, we're all surrounding areas, right? I know you have some amazing stories to tell about the Mid South, and we want to hear them. For community stories, this could even leverage to maybe a monthly meetup where you guys tell your stories in a live podcast setting in front of an audience. So that's one concept, right? Also, literary book club. We are in a library. I know there are a lot of you that love to read. We want to hear about those books. We want you to give feedback and update us on what we should be getting our mind on these days. Culture exploration. So, that's kind of tapping into society and culture genre where, for society and culture, it is such a huge genre in podcasting. So these are more of your interview pods. These are more of, people talking about trending topics, talking about the culture, right? Also, sports. I don't have to explain that. You know what? I have entertained the idea of doing a sports podcast. Not sure if you guys know this, but I am a former athlete. I actually played volleyball at my alma mater, Lamont College, back in the day. It is actually what drew me to the school. The coach back in the day, Coach Nedra Brown, she recruited me to Lamont College. And I'm not gonna lie, I was cold on the volleyball court. Okay, do you hear me? I was a setter. If you don't know what a setter is, I'm the person that set the plays up, the quarterback. And I absolutely love volleyball. But yes, former athlete. Prior to that, I ran track, played basketball, all the things, right? I am very entrenched in the sports world. So, especially basketball, right? And WNBA. I love to talk sports. But yes, I'm leaving that open to you, Memphis, and the Mid-South community to create and become hosts for a sports podcast. Also, comedy. I know a lot of people out there are indeed funny, whether you're trying to be or not trying to be. Some of you are very natural at that. People love comedic podcast content. So we definitely have that on the list. Music, where are my music heads? Well, Memphis is definitely the home of the blues and the home of so many talented musicians here in the city. So definitely a music podcast. History. Whew. History. We can go a lot of different directions with a history podcast, whether you want to focus on Memphis, whether you want to focus on a specific demographic when it comes to history, different locations around the city, the history of just about anything, right? Fashion. Oh, wow. I have quite a few friends that are fashion influencers. And I always love to see their content, but I would love to see those people extend their brand into podcast form. We see what you're doing. We see short clips of you every day on social media or most of the week. But tell us a story. Tell us a story about the outfit. Give us more information. Also, an opinion/debate podcast. That's kind of probably where we get into a little bit of politics. Memphis is very hot right now in politics. Baby, what's gonna happen at that at the board meeting, right? We are trying to see the fallout of whether our superintendent, Dr. Marie Fagans, will remain or will she be ousted out? And do we even know why? So that is another podcast. Youth lifestyle. I have so many young ladies and gentlemen that, they have a lot to say if you listen to them. I have a teenager, an 11-year-old, and oftentimes, you know, I would say, well, I'm gonna make you talk. I'm a communicator. I will say that, but they go in their room, close the door, plug in on their phone, scrolling, And I often have to lead the conversations with my children. I've worked with a lot of students here in the city of Memphis, and you definitely have to engage with them. But what I do know is when you get them comfortable and they start talking, I think that would make an amazing podcast. They just have to hone in on what they want to talk about, what they want to communicate with the world. So definitely a youth podcast that I would like for them to shape that narrative for the pod. Also, wellness. We think about fitness, health. Wellness is top tier. We actually have a gentleman by the name of Jarvis Hall that has come through the residency that started a wellness podcast called the Thrive Tribe. I want you guys to check it out. But he focuses on certain pillars in the wellness fitness space, and he interviews a guest and they talk about those particular pillars, whether that's, physical, emotional, all the things. But like I said, I am looking for hosts for about 10 to 15 podcasts. And I need to know if you guys are interested in being a host. And the best way that I can do that is to put a link out and you give me some feedback, right? We're going to start there. Once I get the feedback from you all, I will hold a meeting in February. So yes, the Cossack Community Podcast under the Ivy Multimedia brand are launching very soon. We have to establish our host, and this particular podcast studio is going to be extremely busy. And I'm excited. I am excited to check out the talent that we have out here in the Mid-South. So I am going to post the link so that you guys can sign up and tell me what particular genre or subject matter you're interested in talking about. And then we're going to, talk further and move forward. So I am going to put that information out there as well. But I just want to jump on here. I told you guys I am going to go live more often from the podcast studio here inside of Cosset. Usually when I go live, we do a little Esco's Pop Talk. Didn't get a chance to see what's going on today. I did see that what's the country singer, the young lady? She is performing at Trump's inauguration. What is her name? Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about, right? Do you guys like country music? I like it when Beyonce does it. Let me look at the Jasmine brand. Yes, Trump is getting ready. The convicted felon is getting ready to be sworn in. Country star Carrie Underwood is set to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration. Anyone surprised? I'm not. I'm not. That tracks. She's going to sing America the Beautiful. Oh. Can you believe Trump is about to get inaugurated for a second term? It is happening. Also, do you know that California is still on fire? Wow, I thought that would have gotten under control by now, but no, it is still going on. I believe it's in the Hollywood area right now. I had to check in on my good friend Rich Fresh from Memphis, Tennessee. I know he lives out there in LA to see if he was okay. Thank God that he and his family are good. But you guys may know family, friends that have been affected by the California wildfires. And it's just so tragic, like to just watch the footage, right? And to see that those cities still burning. Like the initial fire was the perfect storm for disaster with the wind and all the things. So I pray that those families can rebuild. And what's even more messed up is how the insurance companies were canceling people's policies months before it happened. Like, did they know something that we didn't know? Or did something change in policy where, these insurance companies were privy? I couldn't imagine they were privy to how the weather would be and how all these different elements would create these wildfires in that particular manner, right? Um, yeah, so other than those wildfires, of course, we already mentioned the board meeting that is happening very soon in regards to Dr. Marie Fagans, our current superintendent. So we're definitely going to see how that pans out. But let me bring this live to a close. But as promised, like I said, I'm going to check in with you guys weekly. Don't forget to come on out tomorrow to Casa Library, 11:30 a.m. We are doing a live podcast with the president and CEO of the National Civil Rights Museum, Dr. Russell Wigginton. Come and learn about his journey. Come and learn about the programming at the Civil Rights Museum, especially ahead of King Day, which is next Monday. The Civil Rights Museum, they also have a podcast that he's going to talk more about as well. So, hello, Charlene Matthews Reed. Oh, you checked in with me right on time because I was about to sign off, honey. You know, I'm trying to get used to this live. I kind of like live though. You know, you often think, oh, if I got live, I don't have anything to say. But y'all know I'll be running my mouth, right? But often I run my mouth with another person that I'm interviewing. But yeah, I don't think I can ever run out of things to say or things to comment on. But I am at CASA today because we are preparing for tomorrow. Just get some of the logistics down pat. I need to double check and check 3 times on some of this equipment because, like I said, it is a live podcast. So, of course, it will be recorded and it will be repurposed. So you already know I'm going to put it on my platforms. Hopefully the Civil Rights Museum will put it on theirs as well. And content is king, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look, I'm thinking about one more thing that I want to share with you all. And this will happen on Friday. I am going to post the information because I need to know who's interested in joining a free podcast pitch challenge. And when I say podcast pitch challenge, we actually at the Podbox Memphis Podcast Festival, we have a pitch competition. So what does that mean? That means that people are pitching their podcast concept in front of the audience, in front of judges, letting us know what. Hey, Erica, yes, free, honey. Can you believe it? Yes, it's free. In the pitch competition, we're trying to understand, what is your podcast about, and can you effectively communicate that? So if I was on it, similar to an elevator pitch, right? You jump on an elevator, you're trying to get someone to listen to your podcast. What exactly are you going to say? So for example, if I'm downtown, right? If I go into the Exchange building and I'm always looking for new listeners, new subscribers, I may say, hey, how you doing today? Woody, woody, woody. Hey, I am a podcaster and I want you to subscribe to my podcast. What is my podcast about? I'm glad you asked. My podcast is called Verbally Effective. It is an interview style podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, entertainment with a Memphis flair. That's right. I am talking to some of the people that live or either have some type of connection to the Mid-South. We talk about the highs, we talk about the lows, and how did we get to this very point that they are in today. Be sure to subscribe on all streaming platforms. See, I got my pitch down packed, baby. I'm always, promoting, selling Verbally Effective podcasts. And as a result, I've been able to establish some very, very important and unique sponsors because I'm able to pitch the podcast that I'm doing. So, what I want to help you guys with is pitching your podcast idea, right? Some of you may already have an idea of the type of podcast that you want to execute. Some of you may not. I need you to do your research because on Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I am doing a free podcast pitch challenge. That's right. And in return, I will provide feedback to let you guys know how you're doing. I'm always getting pitched in my DMs, on the street. I walk out the door right now here at Casa Library. Somebody's going to pitch me their podcast. But I want you guys to understand and effectively communicate how people can get engaged with your idea, right? So Friday, we're going to do a podcast pitch challenge. I definitely we'll post the information because leading up to it, I want you guys to post some videos and tag me, and I will share it on my platforms as well if you already have a pitch. But we are going to do a live Zoom call. I may do it on the StreamYard platform, but you have to sign up. So I'm going to put the link in my bio on my platforms so that you guys can participate on Friday. So yeah. Hopefully I'll check back in tomorrow. Definitely I'll check back in tomorrow. I'm gonna have the live podcast streamed on platforms. Once again, big shout outs to everybody checking in with me. Charlene, my girl Erica, aka New York. She got the big birthday coming up. We always get together for her birthday every year. New York and I attended Lamont College together. So I am excited around this time of year because we have a good time. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the Verbally Effective podcast on all streaming platforms and the Ina Esco YouTube channel. And I will see you tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. if you get a chance to come down here to Casa Library for the live Verbally Effective podcast with the president of the Civil Rights Museum, National Civil Rights Museum, Dr. Russell Wigginton. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.